Hello. Recently, well, last year now, I had the chance to spend an hour or two with the Moto Guzzi V100 Mandello. So my bike was being serviced, and this was my loan bike for the morning. This is the base model Mandello, it's not the S with the funky suspension and whatnot. So my first impression is small. It feels really small, having jumped off the V85 TT and onto this. Cramped isn't really the right word. Compact, maybe? It wasn't uncomfortable to ride, but yes, even at 5'9", I felt a little hunched over on this. It rides really well, nice and smooth. I mean, you're always going to get some twin-cylinder vibes, but they're not intrusive. I found the fuel injection throttle response to be very smooth. Through the city and on the open roads, it was almost always perfect. I did get a couple of surges in the urban environment, but really very minor at extreme low revs, high gears, whilst playing around, sort of pushing the limits, really. I'd say the fueling's pretty spot on during this brief test I had. They've integrated the radiator quite well. It doesn't look out of place to me personally. I didn't notice any particular heat coming off the engine, perhaps in a hot country with the fan running. I assume there's a fan, it won't be quite so comfy. It has a single-sided swing arm, which takes me back to my old BMW K100 RS, so hopefully that'll make removing the wheel and getting tyres changed, etc. a lot easier. Especially as I noticed this bike has a centre stand, something that I doubt is a standard fitting because, of course, it isn't. There's a mini hugger thing too, but it doesn't seem to do much to keep the bike clean. So the engine then, pretty nice, yeah. It sounds lovely at tick over, full chateau on the overrun. Oh, it does sound nice. In fact, I felt a little self-conscious riding through some of these tiny villages with the exhaust note bouncing off the buildings. I can't quite believe it's legal, but I'm sure plenty of antisocial pricks will fit these with straight-through fart cans and think it makes the bike better. But they're wrong. Hit that thumbs up if you agree and write an angry comment below if you don't. Electronics, the TFT display looks nice. Don't have much to comment on that really. Like all bikes these days, it'll take a while to get used to where to look for the information you're after. I played with the various riding modes. It has Sport, Road, Tour and Rain, I think. Got a feeling there might be the rider might be able to set up a custom mode as well. In Tour mode, the magic flaps pop out at a certain speed. Can't remember exactly what this is. It's around 40 miles an hour, I think. In raid mode, your flaps are permanently extended. Rather than reciting all their marketing bollocks, I'll post what they say about the aerodynamics on the screen now. My honest opinion on my brief ride on this day? I can't tell the difference with them in or out, if I'm honest. I've been riding only a couple of hours on the bike in mild springtime conditions here in the UK. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe you'd notice on a long tour in foul conditions, but yeah, I couldn't tell any difference personally. It also has the electronically adjustable screen, which is a nice thing to have. It's quite small, so doesn't provide huge amounts of protection, but you can feel the position of the wind changing as you move the screen up and down. Just for you guys, I rode for a while without earplugs, and there is noticeably more wind noise with the screen fully up. With it all the way down, there's more wind on you, the rider, but it's smoother air. There's so many variables, it's going to be different for everyone, of course. Let's not even talk about the V85 travel screen shenanigans that a lot of people seem to experience, myself included. I don't think I'd want to fit a bigger screen to this bike because the mechanism feels a bit weebly wobbly. I'm not sure it would stand up to the increased forces of a large sort of touring screen bolted on there. Suspension and handling. The front end's really good. It absorbs the bumps on our terrible UK roads just fine. It's really nice. But I did find the rear end on this bike to be really crashy. I could feel every road imperfection. Now this is a loan bike. I've not looked at or touched the rear shock, so maybe that's something that can be dialed out by an actual owner. Maybe the S model with the posh suspension might work better. Just my observation, riding home on the V85, it handled the bumps noticeably more comfortably than this bike does. I describe the handling as stable. Yeah, it was fine. Remember, this isn't my bike, so I've been riding it carefully as I've got to take it back to the shop later. I know some of you naughty people see a loan bike as an opportunity to thrash the tits off it, but I'm a boring old fart who values his life and licence a lot more these days. Honest. It has about 30 to 40 more horsepower than the V85, I think, so it doesn't hang around, that's for sure. Now, I've ridden bikes from 50cc to 1250cc over the years, and for me the sweet spot on UK roads has always been middleweight bikes, which, even though it's a 1000cc bike, this kind of feels like it fits into for me. I guess you call this bike a sports tourer, maybe? Not sure. Other things I noticed, the heat shields on the exhaust seem to be held in place with clamps. I would imagine that's quite an improvement over the V85, where they bolt directly into lugs on the exhaust and are quite well known for cracking and falling off and just generally seizing in place. So that's probably an improvement. One thing I did notice, there's a horrific, and I do mean horrific, clunk going into first gear. I mean really bad. A loud bang and the whole bike shaking from side to side, and people looking over wondering what the hell just happened. My first thought was that the clutch cable needed adjusting, and then I noticed it has these fancy Brembo master cylinders, so not much you can do there. I tried adjusting the lever a little bit, but it didn't make any noticeable difference. This bike had about 400 miles on the clock, so maybe it's something that improves with age. Maybe it's an adjustment the dealer can make to improve it. I don't know. I only rode it for a couple of hours. It did remind me of sort of a 1990s era Kawasaki ZZR 600 though. The ones I experienced were kind of the same. The switch gear is, I guess I'd call it a bit more normal than the V85s, a bit more standard. Cruise control is still one button, but it's much more of a positive click rather than the mushy switch you get on the V85, so that's nice. Oh, and just to continue my run of bad experiences with dealers, ever since getting my bike serviced, the cruise control on my V85 hasn't worked, so that's 3 different dealers I've been to and 100% bad experience. Oh well. I've no idea what I'm doing to deserve that, but I am getting to the point where I consider kicking Moto Guzzi to the curb and getting a nice little Honda or something. Sort it out, Piaggio, please. There's no heated grips on the bike I tested, no obvious switch for them. Shame they're not standard. I assume they're an option. Personally, I wouldn't be without them here in the UK. Summary. Would I buy one? Well, when I made notes on this video back last year, it was a definite no. It's a lovely bike, I think it's a really nice bike, but the V85 is just much more comfortable for me personally. Riding home on the V85, I didn't miss the power, particularly the extra power, and it was a better experience on the decomposing UK roads. I've no doubt the V100 is a better bike for riding fast on the twisties, and it would be interesting to compare the S model to see how that feels. But for now, I'll be sticking with the V85, I think. Although, since recording this video, I think they're going to do a V100 Stelvio. Interesting. Watch this space. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, hate, whatever. All the good stuff. And if you're lucky, I might make more than one video this year. Who knows? Cheers.